And first of all, I want to thank everyone who was able to join us on this very important virtual press conference. También les quiero dar las gracias a todos los medios latinos que están en esta conferencia de prensa para ayudarnos a contar la historia de Vanessa Guillen y su familia. My heart is with the Vanessa Guillen family, her mom, her sister, and her entire family in this time of crisis in their family. Vanessa is a 20-year-old soldier from Fort Hood and a constituent of mine here in Texas 29th Congressional District who has been missing now for almost 2 months. My office has been working directly with Vanessa's family as we do everything in our power to help find Vanessa. My office has requested a congressional inquiry with the Department of Defense regarding Vanessa Guillen's case. The inquiry, of course, is something available to members of Congress to make sure that constituent cases get the attention that they deserve. We've already also reached out with the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, and they're helping amplify the story and assisting in every way that they can, and that is the entire Congressional Hispanic Caucus of the United States Congress. I will also be working with House Armed Services Committee and House leadership to make sure that this case gets the attention it deserves, and that we make sure that the Army gets the resources and dollars that they need to do a full investigation to find Vanessa. We've also been in direct contact with Colonel Overland at Fort Hood to learn more about the case, get a concrete deadline about what they have been doing to find Vanessa, and ensure that there is more transparency in this case. We're still waiting on information from the base, and I would certainly like for the FBI to have a more robust investigation in conjunction with their Central Intelligence Division, who are directly involved in this investigation. We need to get to the bottom of this. We need to make sure that we look at every single complaint, every single allegation that is being made in this case, and that we get to the bottom of it. This needs to happen too, because Vanessa's mom has made it clear that Vanessa had previously expressed to her and her sister about not feeling safe on the base and perhaps being the victim of sexual assault on the base. This is very serious. We need to make sure that those concerns are addressed. We need to make sure that there's no questions left, and that we again get to the bottom of it all. We know that the armed services do not always have the best record when it comes to addressing issues of sexual assault. There's been other cases, and obviously there's also been other congressional inquiries before my time in the Congress. So we cannot let these allegations go without full investigation. I was pleased that this morning in a call with the Colonel, he mentioned that he had formed his own internal investigative group to look at every allegation related to sexual assault or sexual harassment in this case. So I'm hopeful that too will shed more light on these questions. We must get down to the bottom of this. We need answers, because the reality is Vanessa was on the base. This should never have happened. I could not believe, quite frankly, when Vanessa and her daughter told me the story, that something like this could happen in one of our own bases here in the United States of America. When someone of her age, man or woman, decides to give their time and their career to the United States Army or any of our armed forces is, we need to make sure that parents know that when they entrust their children to the United States of America and through one of their services, that they will be taken care of, that they will be protected, and that they will be trained to become the soldiers that they want to be. Vanessa wanted to serve her country. Never could her mother have imagined that when she entrusted her daughter to the Army, that something like this would happen. We need to take every step that we can to make sure that this never, ever happens again. No one else should go through this, and we need to make sure that we help this family work through all this. And with that, I want to introduce a good friend of mine. We have the same last names, but we're not related. Sometimes I wish we were, because he has done a stellar job of leading the premier Latino civil rights organization in this country, LULAC. And LULAC, of course, is the League for United Latin American Citizens. I'm a proud LULAC member. I belong to one of the chapters here in Houston. Their work in civil rights and voting rights and in every arena that you can think of related to Latino full participation as American citizens is a credit to the work of LULAC, and certainly under the leadership of my friend Domingo Garcia, it is growing and growing. So Domingo now has an announcement to make on this case. Domingo?
Thank you, Congresswoman. I'm gonna make my comments in English and then in Spanish, so I'll start out with the English part. LULAC is the oldest and largest Latino civil rights organization in America, and we care about the civil rights of everyone. In this case, we have a situation at Fort Hood, Texas, with the disappearance of Vanessa Guillen. Our local LULAC council has been trying to bring attention to this case for several weeks now. We're over 50 plus days of her missing, and we have been having protests and vigils there at the fort, trying to get attention to the plight of Vanessa and her family. Today, we are announcing a $25,000 reward in addition to the reward that the Army already has for any information leading to the location and whereabouts of Vanessa Guillen, and or information regarding the arrest, the indictment of anybody involved in her disappearance. This information will be confidential and anonymous. So you can call our LULAC.org and leave your name, number, and information. We will contact you and we will protect that confidentiality. There's a saying in the military, we leave no soldier behind. We cannot leave Vanessa behind. We cannot leave her family behind. We have to stand up for them. This young lady put on the uniform to serve our country. The least we can do is find out where she is now and how well we can do to help her. So I'm asking anybody out there, if you have any information as to her location, her whereabouts, or what has happened to her, please contact us or contact the Congresswoman's office and let us know, and we will do everything we can with local law enforcement and local military police to bring justice to her and her family. Brevemente en español. Mi nombre es Domingo Garcia, soy presidente nacional del LULAC, la organización más vieja y más grande de derechos civiles de latinos aquí en Estados Unidos. Estamos aquí porque estamos con la familia de Vanessa Guillen, porque sabemos que están sufriendo mucho ellos. Y estamos aquí luchando por los derechos civiles y humanos de esta familia. Hoy estamos anunciando una recompensa de $25,000 por información, dándoles la locación o el lugar donde está ella ahorita, o información de confidencialmente que pueda resultar en el arresto y la convicción de cualquier persona que ha cometido un crimen, posiblemente en este caso. Esta información va a ser confidencial, va a ser discreta. Pueden llamar a nuestra oficina de lulac.org o a la oficina de la congresista para darse esa información. En el ejército dijimos, no vamos a dejar ningún soldado o soldada atrás. No podemos dejar a Vanessa Guillen atrás. Ella se puso el uniforme de este país como soldada. Necesitamos que reconocer que debemos a ella y su familia hallar qué le pasó y buscar la justicia para ella y su familia. Gracias.
Now, Myra, is Miss Guillen wanting to say a few words?
Pues yo sí quiero agradecerles que me estén ayudando con esto y que me ayuden a localizar a mi hija. ¿Qué es lo que pasó? Ya va para 2 meses y no sabemos nada. ¿Qué es lo que pasó? ¿Qué es lo que pasó ahí en esa base? ¿Por qué desapareció mi niña? Yo no sé cómo está, si comió, si no comió, no sé dónde la tienen. Yo, por el amor de Dios, les suplico que me ayuden. Ya no aguanto más, ni un día más, porque yo ya no duermo y estoy mal de salud. Por eso les suplico que me ayuden a saber la verdad. ¿Qué es lo que pasó dentro de esa base? ¿Por qué le hicieron eso a mi niña? Que investiguen en realidad, no ellos, porque a ellos no les creo nada de afuera, del Congreso, que manden algo de afuera, no de adentro. De adentro no les creo nada porque se van a tapar. Yo quiero que alguien sea de afuera, que investigue qué es lo que está pasando y dónde está mi niña. Es lo que más deseo ahorita, que me traigan a mi niña, porque mi hija está de testigo, yo ya no duermo. Y me siento muy mal, mi cara lo dice todo, ya no duermo yo, de estar pensando en mi niña.
Sí. Bueno, pues vamos a darle un tiempo a Robert para que traduce lo que dijo en inglés para los reporteros que Tomás habla en inglés. Robert, will you translate as best you can what she said?
Yeah, absolutely. So I won't turn off the camera just so it doesn't take the focus off of the four folks who are on the screen. So the Gloria, the mom, said, thank you so much for helping my family and for helping me during this difficult time. I just want to know what happened to my little girl. I just want to know what happened on that base. I want to know if she's eating. I want to know who took her. I want someone from the outside to help find my daughter, to look into what's happening on that base. I can't sleep. I'm starting to feel, badly. My face reflects everything that is currently happening to our family. Again, I just want answers, and I want to make sure that we can get down to the bottom of this. That is, a quick synopsis of some of the exact words that Vanessa's mom has just spoken.
Thank you. Now I'll give the attorney, it's Kawam, and for reporters, it's Khawam, first name Natalie, who will also say a few words on behalf of the family.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman. I'm proud to represent the Guillen family in their search for justice, their search for Vanessa, and their search for answers. I will be spearheading a concerted effort between the Department of Defense, between Congress, between my client and the media to keep everyone abreast of our efforts and what we learn, what we find out, and what we could do to make sure this never happens again to another soldier that serves our country.
Thank you. Robert, do you want to open up for questions?
Yep. So I'm going to quickly run through how we're going to be taking questions. So if everyone can open up your chat box, I will be taking questions as they are coming in. So if you can please start to type your questions, I will do to the best of my abilities to make sure that we're not repeating questions. And I will be reading these questions and directing them to the appropriate person. If there's a question that will be asked of the mom, I will also be translating that question for the mom so that she can give her response. And then I will also help translate what her mom had said. And there's a reporter who was asked if if there's permission to record. You absolutely can record responses so that you can use this for your newscasts, for stories that you may be working on. And so I want to make sure that we can do that. So the first question I have here is from Arelis at the Washington Post. Arelis wants to know, do you know why the Army is still leading the investigation, given that the FBI has more resources and investigative reach? Congresswoman, I'll maybe let you start us off, and then potentially over to Natalie for a quick response as well.
Well, my understanding is that the FBI did initially take part in the investigation, although it is still a little murky as to just how much they did or did not do. I have asked that the FBI, again, be more involved, because obviously I've always seen the FBI as the independent outside agency. Anytime we have their group is CID and they're doing an investigation. We met, there's been 2 agents that have been on the virtual calls that I've been doing with the family. I think they both have spoken with the family. And we just don't get very many answers from them, quite frankly. And I would like that the FBI to be more involved, quite frankly. And I don't know why they're not. I don't know if it's an Army thing. I've never practiced military law, so I have no idea. But we are working with the Armed Services Committee to try to get some answers on some of those questions ourselves.
Anyone else wants to, just to keep it moving, I will, so the next question is for Vanessa's sister, Maida. Can you tell us a little bit about Vanessa? How would you describe your sister? Where did she go to high school in Houston? Anything that you can share about your sister?
Sure. My sister, she went to Chavez High School. She was a graduate there, 2018. Right after high school, she didn't even doubt about enlisting in the Army. She literally left a couple days after graduating. She didn't even have time, to stay and celebrate that she graduated high school. I remember I dropped her off at the hotel on June 10th. So this past June 10th, it's been 2 years that she's been serving for our country. And I just don't find it fair that whoever this is, took advantage of her, took her liberty away, especially it being in a federal base. She's the most humble, loving person. Whoever meets Vanessa remembers her significantly for who she is. She has a lot of people that, they're really affected by everything that's going on. This is why it's gotten so much attention, first and foremost. And I believe that we have to do everything in our hands, the Army as well, to find her. Because keep in mind, the Army is trained to look for people, especially foreigners. How can we not find one of our own? How can they not find one of their own?
Thank you, Maida, so much for sharing those words about your sister. The next question is from Suzanne from NBC Latino. Rep Garcia, can you please explain further the investigative C group? You mentioned that the colonel said he would form. Has it been started yet? If not, do you have a sense of what it's hoping to do based on your conversations with the colonel?
Right. Well, CID, which I think is the Criminal Investigation Division of the Army, is started the investigation initially, but together with them was the FBI, the Department of Public Safety, Parks and Wildlife, the local Texas Rangers, the local county official. I'm assuming it was the sheriff. So it's been a multifaceted investigation at the beginning, and that's when the search started. I think some of that has sort of slowed down some, and that's the big concern for the family. Although the colonel this morning assured us that even today they were searching. The real question is right now, we don't know where they're searching. We don't know where they've searched. We've not seen any of that. I was going to try to visit the base this week. The family will be there on Thursday to meet with the colonel. I, however, cannot. You all may have read that I am under self-quarantine until June 21st, that I cannot get out. So I am trying now to schedule to visit with the colonel and visit the base on June 23rd. So hopefully I'll get more answers, but hopefully the family will get more answers. The colonel assured us that he was going to have maps and he was going to show them where they've been and where they've searched. Because there's real questions about, what they've done and how much more they could be doing. And that's what's concerning for us, is that we seem to have more questions than we have answers. And I need answers in terms of what other resources they may need to crank it up if they have to. Because, again, I've been in touch with Chairman Smith from Armed Services. He's assured me that whatever we need, that the committee will work with me on that. So I think there's a lot of things in play here. And it's reassuring to hear the colonel say that with regard to the sexual assault and sexual harassment, that now he has put an investigative team of his own in his own, forgive me, I forget if it's called a cavalry or division in his area to begin a more thorough investigation. And when he meets with the family on Thursday, that he wants to hear every single allegation so that they can investigate every single one. And that's what it's going to take. But I want to make sure that they do a deep dive and that it's open and fair and transparent. Because again, when you see an organization that's investigating themselves, sometimes the results are suspect. I know that. I mean, I was city controller here in Houston, and it was always good for an independent auditor come and look at the books, even if they were my books. I mean, it's just good business to have an independent look.
Ahora una pregunta para la señora Guillen. ¿Por qué no tiene confianza en las autoridades militares? ¿Cómo fue que se enteró que su hija estaba desaparecida? ¿Y qué notó en el video que ha salido de los últimos días, que ha salido de un par de días antes de que desapareció? Lo voy a decir un momentico en inglés para que la prensa en inglés también entienda la pregunta. So the question is, for Vanessa's mom, in terms of why she does not have total confidence in the military forces. You know, when was it that she found out that her daughter had disappeared? And lastly, there's a video that has come out about a couple of days before she went missing, and what she's noticed about her daughter in that video. Señora?
Sí, mire, yo me enteré de la desaparición de mi hija el 22 de abril a las 7 de la tarde, porque mi hija Mayra siempre se estaba comunicando con ella, siempre. Y llegó de su trabajo y me dijo, mami, ¿no has notado algo raro? Le digo, ¿qué? Dice que Vanessa no nos contesta los mensajes. Le dije, yo le mensajé a la 1 de la tarde y sí, nunca me regresó el mensaje. Dijo, mami, déjame comunico a la base y les digo que qué está pasando. Y ella se comunicó a la base y le dijeron, ella se comunicó a la base, nadie se comunicó con nosotros de esa base. Le dijeron, tu hermana no sabemos desde la 1 de la tarde dónde está. Se hallaron todas sus cosas en el edificio de armas. Se me quería salir el corazón en ese rato, corrí toda la casa de desesperación. Le dije, vete a buscarla, vete, yo me voy mañana o pasó mañana, pero vete, porque tengo a mi niño más chiquito y lo tenía malito. Vete. Y se fue a buscarla y no la dejaban entrar porque llegó ya en la madrugada, porque estaba bien por el camino y no pudo llegar a tiempo. Entonces regresó otro día a las 8:30 de la mañana, y a la niña no la empezaron a buscar hasta otro día a las 9, 10 de la mañana, con 20 soldados, 10 soldados. Eso no es justo. ¿Por qué no se buscó luego? ¿Por qué no se buscó de volada? ¿Por qué no se cerró la base? ¿Por qué no mandó todo el ejército a buscar a mi niña? Es lo que estoy peleando. ¿Por qué echaron mentiras?
Señora, mi corazón está con usted. Voy a rapidito traducir algunas de las cosas que ha dicho. So she says that, you know, the family realized that the sister had gone missing, that Vanessa had gone missing on the 22nd of April. They had noticed that she was now returning calls, she was now returning text messages, which was very strange because she would always communicate often with the family. Additionally, you know, she says that her heart wanted to come out when they realized that the daughter was not returning any of the calls, that there was no information on where she was. And so she urged her daughter, you know, please go and find your sister. So the daughter started driving over to the base. She got there, you know, after midnight, and so they wouldn't let her on at that time. She returned the next day, I believe she said around 8:39 in the morning, to make sure that she can try to get answers. And again, her question is, you know, why weren't they informed sooner? Why was it that they had to find out, you know, that they had not been, and why weren't they contacted? Why wasn't the base closed? You know, why wasn't more done to find her daughter? The next question is a quick question for Domingo. They wanted to know where they would be able to contact LULAC with information.
Okay. You can contact LULAC at 214-941-8300, 214-941-8300, 214-941-8300, 214-941-8300. And we are working with the family and Congresswoman Garcia to get any information leads so we can help to find her whereabouts.
The next question I have here is can the family tell us more about the sexual harassment allegation? Wasn't mentioned in passing, wasn't mentioned directly. Did she say that she was being stalked, or someone was there was someone that she worked with? Is there any detail that the family may be able to provide on that? And I'll loop in both the family and Natalie as well as their attorney in case there's anything on that. Oh, wait. Okay, Natalie, I think you're trying to speak and you need to unmute yourself.
Does that work?
Yep, there you go.
Okay, good. As to the allegations as to sexual assault, sexual harassment that she's endured. I spoke to a few people today, witnesses that discussed exactly what her mother and her sister said previously. So that was relayed to me. We're not going to disclose any names right now, but we are going to start. I want to speak to the colonel and provide him these names that I was given and let them investigate what happened and who else knew and what they witnessed. And if there's any cameras as to these allegations, we'd like to have the video footage of what occurred.
Thank you. The next question is, can the family clarify, did Vanessa have her cell phone with her, or was it amongst the items left in the armory? Is there any surveillance footage or parking from that last scene? Again, I think this is probably going to be a question for both the family and the attorney.
So I understand that the phone has not been found. Can everyone hear me? Okay. I understand that the phone has not been found. We are going to be subpoenaing the company, the mobile company, as to where it was last, where it pinged last. Also going to be also subpoenaing text messages that she had on her phone. I understand that morning before she disappeared, her phone had a full battery. I saw the screenshots of the conversations she's had that morning before she disappeared. So we're going to do a very heavy search as to where this phone is, where it was last found, and what happened, and why the family is being kept from being able to review the phone. So there's a lot of work on our hands right now as to ascertaining this information that we need to gather and understand as to what happened prior to her disappearance. Secondly, is to the vehicle. I had a person in the parking lot today do a live FaceTime for me, showed me the vehicle that's still parked in the parking lot. I saw cameras in the parking lot. We want to have those videos. We want to see what happened. You know, this was her car is directly across the street from the gym, from the barracks, from her work. So there's going to be a lot of information in these video tapes that they hopefully have or maintained from these cameras in the parking lot.
The next question is for the mother. Para la mamá, el reportero quiere saber si en el video que ha salido de los últimos días de su hija, que si usted notó algo que, tú sabes, con su hija que a lo mejor estaba extraño en su comportamiento, si había algo que a lo mejor notó en el video que pudiera compartir. They wanted to know for, again, the couple of days before the video that's come out a couple of days before of one of her last movements, if there was anything the mother noticed that may have been off or strange about her daughter. Señora?
No, yo la noté como igual, como siempre, porque ella así es como yo. Camina desesperadita, toca el teléfono, se sienta, se para. Yo la conozco perfectamente a mi hija y lo que pasa es que en ese video yo lloré mucho porque como tenía que no la miraba, me lo enseñaron en la manifestación el viernes, un periodista, y yo me emocioné tanto al verla caminar porque así la conozco, así actúa ella, así actúa, siempre actúa así, como que se mueve. Yo la conozco perfectamente, no había así que algo que notaran extraño, así es ella. Pero lo que más que me emocionó es que la miré que iba a ser restaurante, porque sí me decía que iba a ser restaurante, y la miré y me emocioné tanto que me puse muy mal. No se imagina lo que sintió ver a mi hija en ese video. Fue algo que dije, Dios mío, mi niña.
Sí, señora. Yo sé que no me puedo imaginar por lo que usted está pasando. I'll quickly translate for the mother. So the mother said, that she got very emotional when she was at the protest this past week, I believe in Guillen, where someone showed her that video, and she got very emotional because, again, she knows her daughter very well. She knows the way, she acts, the way she walks, the way she looks, and it was a restaurant that the daughter had mentioned that she would go often to. So, she got very emotional to be able to see her daughter in the video, but that she didn't notice anything, out of place or any weird behavior. The next question is for Domingo. There was LULAC locally and clean has helped lead some of the rallies that have been happening and the peaceful vigil that happened this past weekend. Do you have a feeling as to why potentially it's not getting as much attention from the media, or what we can continue to do to make sure that as they're continuing to do that it's something that's being reported on?
Well, we're concerned that, the family, you have Amber Alerts when children go missing. You have the first 48. If you don't find something in the first 48 hours, then the case becomes extremely difficult to solve. And we did not feel that the family were getting any answers from the military brass there at Fort Hood, for the military police. We just did not know what was going on. And so our local LULAC councils decided to start having protests, start having vigils, and start getting information. And Selma Hayek, a well-known actress, has put out information about Vanessa's case, and other people are asking, where is Vanessa? And we thought we had to get attention because we did not feel that the family was getting the attention they deserved from the military brass there at Fort Hood. Frankly, we don't see any results, and they're not getting information.
The next question is for the Congresswoman. Congresswoman, the question is, what has sorry, that's my phone. What has the Army Criminal Investigation Command or Fort Hood explained about any of the video surveillance around the base or on the base? Is there anything that the base has said about any of those potential records, her records about her squadron, et cetera, that you might be able to speak about briefly?
Well, we asked those questions together with another series of questions that the mother had at my first meeting with the colonel in my office, virtually, I might add. And he actually said that the video cameras did not have any, but he also said that the armory, the area where she worked, didn't have any video cameras. And if I recall correctly, I believe he said that the parking lot camera was maybe only one. I don't recall him saying more than one, but they were not forthcoming with much more than that. The agent in charge who was on the virtual call the first time in this morning said that they were, because of the pending investigation, that they could not give us any more information than that. I think we asked about the cell phone, and they said they couldn't really confirm anything, that they were doing forensics on the cell phone, really they did not tell us too much. We keep working on making sure that we can go and see what they are doing so that we can see for ourselves. And I know that that's the same thing the family wants to do when they visit on Thursday. So everything is couched under, it's a pending investigation, and we cannot confirm that and we cannot share it.
Got it. And Congresswoman, they were also asking if you wouldn't mind doing a little bit in Spanish about just the conversations that you've had with the Colonel for our Spanish media on the line.
Bueno, pues desde el principio, cuando los ponemos en comunicación con la señora Guillen, le pedimos al Fort Hood, al coronel, que, bueno, pues que necesitaba hacer una visita con la señora Guillen, ¿no? Porque todavía a este tiempo no había ella comunicado con nadie en Fort Hood directamente. Así es que se puso de acuerdo y tuvimos una junta, me parece que fue la semana pasada, que fue la primera, y luego otro hoy por la mañana. Y siempre el coronel es, bueno, pues muy amable, ¿no? Pero no dice mucho. Esa es la cosa más importante, ¿no? Porque nosotros queremos que hagan una investigación con fuerza y que lo hagan la investigación todos los días, no nomás un poquito aquí, un poquito allá, pero uno completo, porque no queremos no vamos a cansar hasta cuando ya encontramos a Vanessa, y nosotros queremos que ellos también trabajen con ese ánimo, ¿no? Así es que para mí es muy importante como congresista para tener la línea de comunicación con el Army, para ver qué más cómo le podemos ayudar con fondos para él o para ir al Fort Hood, para que compren las cosas que necesitan para la investigación, para que tengan más personas buscándola, porque es una vida y es la hija de esta señora Guillen. Así es que no nos podemos olvidar que esto tiene un impacto muy grande a esta familia que ahorita está con un corazón rompido, ¿no? Así es que tenemos que hacer todo lo posible a buscarla y encontrarla y entregársela para atrás para su mamá y su familia.
Thank you, Congresswoman. The next question is for the family. I know that they're en español y en inglés. En español para la familia, sé que la familia ha comenzado una petición con la Casa Blanca para tratar de que los ayuden y que le den respuestas. Sé que han recibido más de 100,000 firmas y querían saber si han recibido una respuesta sobre esa petición. In English, the question is, has any information come about from the family's petition to the White House, which has currently received more than 100,000 signatures?
Myra, you need to turn your mic on.
Yeah. So regarding the petition, last time I checked, it was about a little bit more than 160,000 signatures. So that just gives an idea of the amount of people that are interested and want to help us. I haven't gotten a response yet back from that. I'm not so sure on what's the next step regarding the petition, but I'll try to find out as soon as possible. Another thing that I do want to point out is that if let's say, you know, they have soldiers looking, right? EcuSearch, they've been on our side and they've been of a great help. They were actually called in again. They called me this morning to go in tomorrow. And I feel that they should be allowed not only to search on the outskirts of the base, but in certain areas inside, of course, by the supervision of, you know, anyone that they need to have supervision on, like the colonel himself. But I strongly believe that, you know, they should be able to go in there because, you know, they've been doing this for a long time and they've found a lot of people. Just the fact that it's inside the military base, it's what's making this so much harder than what it should be.
Thank you so much. The next question is for the Congresswoman. They're asking if it can be a little, you know, in English and then a little bit in Spanish as well. It's mainly, do you plan to be visiting the base to try to learn more about where she disappeared? And if there are, you know, any possibilities that the FBI may take this case. I know you spoke about this a little bit earlier, but they were hoping to maybe get a little bit of that in Spanish as well.
So you want English and Spanish or all Spanish? I was not clear about.
Start in English just so that you can repeat.
Yeah, because you asked about 3 different questions. So, well, for us, it really is about making sure that we keep the open line of communication with the Army. You know, right now, they control the information. They control the property. They control Fort Hood. So we have to depend on them to tell us as much as they can. Now I'm happy that they've got a lawyer and a lawyer will help through that, but lawyering sometimes takes time. But I think what's important is that we keep the line of communication open and that the Guillen family visit directly with the colonel on base so that they can see what they've done and what they may not have done. And then I want the same opportunity. And we're also hopeful that members of the Armed Services Committee will be joining us. So for us, it's about taking a look to see what else it could be doing and again, what resources they might need. Así es que para mí siempre he sido importante que tengamos la línea de comunicación abierta con el Army, con Fort Hood, porque ellos ahorita controlan todo. Ellos controlan el vaso, ellos controlan los fondos, ellos controlan la investigación. Así es que es importante tener comunicación con ellos. Así es que para mí como congresista es la primera cosa, la prueba más grande, que ellos hablen con la señora Guillen, que la escuchen, porque yo sé que ella tiene muchas preguntas y tiene muchas preocupaciones. Así es que es muy importante tener esa línea de comunicación. Y también yo quiero ir a visitar el base para ver yo también dónde han sido sus, I forget how to say search in Spanish right now, y'all. Domingo, help me, como la investigación. Así es que es muy importante, ¿no? Porque yo quiero estar satisfecha, ¿no? Que están haciendo todo lo que es posible, que todo lo que puedan.
So I think that I'm going to ask one more question, and then with that, we will quickly, Congresswoman, do you want to, after this last question, do you want to do, maybe 30 seconds concluding remarks, and then we'll all hop off?
Sure, thank you.
Okay. So the last question is for the sister and the mother. So I'll say it en español primero. Que ¿Cuál fue la última conversación que usted tuvo con su hija, con su hermana? What was the last conversation that the family had with Vanessa?
The last conversation I had with my sister was on Tuesday, the day before she disappeared. She was telling me about how she wanted to purchase a car and she wanted my opinion on it. As usual, she always comes to me. So of course, this was in regards to her birthday, September 30th of this year. And that was the last conversation that we had.
Yo la última conversación que tuve con mi hija fue el martes 21 de abril a las 10:40 de la noche. Y era sobre un medicamento que estaba tomando ella y queríamos arreglar eso para ordenarlo. Eso fue la última conversación que tuve con mi niña.
Y voy a traducir rapidito la parte de la mamá. So the mom said that the last conversation that she had with her daughter was on April 21st around 10:40 p.m. And it was regarding some medication that she was taking, and that they were looking how to make sure that the daughter could order it. So with that, I will quickly turn it over to the Congresswoman to lead us off on closing out the virtual press conference.
Well, thank you all for joining us, and thank you to the Guillen family. I understand the turmoil and the hurt and the pain that they're going through, and I just want to remind all of us that as we go through this, that this is a story about a family. This is what's happened to their daughter, and we need to make sure that we get all the answers to every question that they may have, every allegation, every doubt, every concern. Until we do that, we will not stop monitoring this case and working with them. And so, Domingo, thank you so much for that reward. I think that now makes it a $50,000 reward because as of yesterday, I think it was at 25, and I think with yours today, hopefully that will encourage people who may have seen something or heard something to call in that hotline. And it's important that people be encouraged to do that because we will leave no stone unturned until we find Vanessa. And I just want to be mindful too and remember that we really have to take a deep dive on this case to find Vanessa, but to get to the bottom of anything that may be going on at Fort Hood. I mean, I'm troubled that Gregory Morales went missing August of 2019 and still has not been found from Fort Hood, a different regiment, but still from Fort Hood. These allegations of sexual assault, that is not the first time we hear allegations of sexual assault in the armed services. So when we look at this, we need to get to the bottom of this case, but we also, as members of Congress, need to be mindful of looking at the whole thing, if you will. I don't sit on Armed Services Committee, but I know that those members are going to be concerned and are concerned about this case. I know the Congressional Hispanic Caucus is. I know Senator Carol Alvarado has visited with you all. I know that, LULAC and other organizations. So to the family, ya sabes, Gloria, que estamos contigo. Yo siento mucho en mi corazón que estás pasando por esto. Así es que estoy aquí todavía para ayudarte como pueda. Y ya sabes que mi oficina es tu oficina. Gracias, and thank you all for joining us today.
Congresswoman, just to show Alan Jamal a little bit of love, because I know he's our local reporter in the North Channel. Just one last quick question he was asking is, the Army has some of the best search dogs in the world, and they wanted to know if they've used any of the search dogs or any of the infrared search systems from the helicopters in the search.
My understanding is that they did. We asked those questions at the first meeting. They did do air search and they did use dogs. I think the question the family had was when, if I remember correctly, and I don't have my notes from that first virtual call readily available. My recollection is that they did not bring the search dogs till maybe even like a week after, because they did the foot search first and then later they brought in the dogs. So the family was concerned that they may have waited too long, that they could have done it sooner. But they're off the call now. We can't ask them, but yes, they have done that. And initially they did all of that it was the first 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. And now I believe that they're just doing the foot search. And the colonel did say today on our call that they were searching today, but we never know what that means. Is it 100 people searching or 10 people searching? And that's the kind of detail that I've asked for, and they have promised me a timeline with exactly who did what when, but I've not received it yet. And that's concerning for me because not only are they not giving all the information that the family thinks they should be getting, I don't feel like they're doing that to me as a member of Congress. So we'll get to the bottom of it, and hopefully I will get to visit with the colonel, and he has assured me that he'll have a timeline for me when I visit with him, hopefully in the next 2 weeks. But thank you for the question, Alan, and it's good to have you on the call. Great.
So with that, I think that concludes the press conference, unless Natalie wants to say a final word. If not, I'm going to go ahead and conclude the press conference.
Natalie, you need to unmute if you're going to say something.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll be flying into Texas tomorrow, and I'm planning on meeting with the colonel and getting some more of this information that I feel like both Congresswoman and I have not received yet. I'm also confused as to why the family wasn't provided this information. I really believe in transparency and an effort for all of us to learn what has happened, what has transpired, who's done what, and why this information isn't so fluid and transparent, especially after 50 days or so has gone by. So I'll do my best effort to retrieve this information and keep everybody abreast of what I find and what I learn.
Right. Great. Robert, if I can say one last thing, remember she went missing April 22nd. Next week, Monday is June 22nd. That's 2 months. I don't think that we've gotten enough answers to some of our questions that, in my view, could have been available because they've been doing this investigation now for almost 2 months. So it's, like I said, I'm baffled by the lack of results. And that's why it's important that we shed more light on this case and that we work hand in hand with the family to make sure that they get the justice and the attention and the comfort that they deserve. So again, thank you all for being on the call.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.